One of the things that keeps us sane in the depths of winter up here in the Northern Hemisphere is being able to tune into some racing down under. And this year we had a double helping in Sydney. First came Sail GP, the penultimate event in the second season for the Flying F50s. And what an event it was! The racing has become more intense with every event, but this one had lots of drama.
Oh my God! Oh my God! What the...
So if you didn't follow the action at the time, as well as catching up with who came out on top, you can get behind the scenes to see how Ben Ainsley and Nathan Outridge resolved their differences after a major crash. Remember, this is the Nathan Outridge that Ben told to
Shut up, Nathan! Mate, that's a call. We're going to try and get behind you. Stop moaning.
And then there was the Rolex Sydney Hobart race, a Boxing Day classic. Last year the race had to be cancelled due to the pandemic. This year it was on. And according to some of the crews, it turned out to be one of the hardest ever. Here's why. The start is as much about spectators as it is about the racing itself. And then there's the iconic harbour, a natural amphitheatre.
To be able to sail out at Sydney Hobart with all the spectator fleet and all the people on the foreshore, and then being able to make it to Hobart and get the reception we get, which is second to none anywhere in the world. I've been lucky enough to do Rolex races all around the world, and nothing comes close to the reception you get in Hobart.
But above all else, it's known as a tough race.
It's obviously an impossibly difficult race to win, especially back to back. It hasn't been done since '65, but we're aiming to do it, and fingers crossed we can give ourselves the best chance possible given the weather conditions.
Funnily enough, several others had that on their minds too.
We're here to win the race. We're prepared to win the race, but we need to put a good performance out there in the ocean, and hopefully we can get into our routine and our combinations and put a good effort together.
Everyone wants to win the Sydney Hobart. They all want it on their resume, and so it'd be incredible.
The turkeys had been placed to one side as thousands of spectators headed out to see the start of the Boxing Day Classic. Once the fleet had passed through the notorious Sydney Heads, they were out in open ocean, and conditions were punchy from the start as the fleet set off on the 600-mile leg south. After just 24 hours, the strong southerly winds and big seas had forced the retirement of 24 boats in the 88-strong fleet. Leading the charge to Hobart were three 100-footers. Peter Harburg's Blackjack was in front. Just behind was Christian Beck's Law Connect, with David Witt's SHK Scallywag in third. But after a difficult opener, the second half of the race was very different. Light breezes made the approach into Hobart a tricky one, particularly for the tacticians. But 100-foot Supermaxis eat up the miles whatever the breeze. Just 2.5 days later, and after holding their nerve and chewing their nails in the closing stages, the crew of Blackjack took line honours. An impressive achievement for a boat that was originally launched in 2003 as Alfa Romeo.
It was a good, probably 20 hours upwind in 20 to 25 knots southerly, and so the challenge there is it's wind against tide, so it's pretty bumpy. I mean, we've got a great light air boat, but Adam Beechel and again Kevin Costin and Graham Taylor from Melbourne did a great job in the light air. So really they got the big break that we ended up with in the end, which ended up being a good sort of hour and a bit, I suppose. We had a lot of infrastructure behind the tactical side of the race, and I feel like we did a pretty good job ultimately.
Behind them, Matt Allen and his crew aboard Ichiban, about half the size, had set the bar high, aiming to take the overall win on corrected time. And as he explained, it was challenging from the start.
It was an incredibly difficult race, probably the hardest on the boats and the crew that we've seen for many years. Because of the wave conditions that we saw really first through the first 24 hours of the race, really creating big issues for the boats, trying to make sure that the boats weren't crashing off the waves too much. And then you had that very complicated tactical situation for the rest of the race that really enabled, decision making to be absolutely critical to have a chance of winning the race.
And true to form, the last stretch up the River Derwent was notoriously tricky, but Ichiban held it together and took the overall win. Their second in a row. That's only the second time that's been achieved since 1960. This was also the third time Alan had won the race as skipper. Now that really is impressive.
Yeah, look, it's amazing to be part of the history and the fabric of the Rolex Sydney to Hobart race with a back-to-back win. I mean, we're just so elated, the crew's so elated. It's always been a lifetime passion to win the Sydney to Hobart, and I was fortunate enough to win it very early in my life as a member of the crew. I've challenged too. But then to win it 3 times as skipper is something that it probably is still sinking in. It's something that we've been trying to do, and we've been trying to do the back-to-back. And we put it out there in 2018 and weren't lucky enough to bring it home that year. It's really special. It's really special for the crew, and even the younger guys in the crew are really realising that they are part of the history of this great race.